Hi everyone, welcome to today's Sunday service. Today's theme is everyday blessings. I hope you enjoy.
Everyday blessings. Our God, you are so personal. You know just what we need. As parent, you know what is best, not always what we plead. I'm sorry if I grumble and sometimes I complain, instead of being grateful for the things you do each day. As Jesus has reminded us, the sun shines every day, even if we can't see it. It's there to light our way. I'm grateful that I have a voice and I can sing to you, and eyes to see the wonders of the beautiful things you do, and for those who help us every day with food for us to eat, fresh water when the tap's turned on, and when it's cold, there's heat. Dear God, you've blessed us richly with things we need each day, our friends and family who love us and guide us on our way. As you bless us daily, we want to return to you our love, our praise, our service in everything we do. We'll praise you in the morning, we'll serve you through the day, we'll love you in the evening and be grateful all the way.
The works of good spirits and evil spirits. We use good spirits as a general term for God, spirits on the side of God, and good angels. The general term for Satan and spirits on his side is evil spirits. The works of good spirits and evil spirits, as in the case of good and evil acts generally, have a similar appearance at the outset, but pursue contrary purposes. Over time, the works of a good spirit will increase a person's sense of peace and righteousness, and even improve his health. The works of evil spirits, on the contrary, will gradually lead to an increase of anxiety, fear, and selfishness, and cause his health to deteriorate.
Today I want to talk a little bit about what blessings mean for me. One thing I've noticed, and especially lately, we're living in a world that is really kind of scary. There's an awful lot of fear around, and it's so easy to get caught up in a web of fear, of doubt, of uncertainties, of worries about the future, of where our life is going. And the biggest blessing for me is when I can step from this fear into another experience of love. And I notice that this doesn't happen automatically, but I'm getting better and better at doing it. And it starts with me first of acknowledging my fear and then saying to myself, I am not a body. This world is not the real world. I'm here for a part of my life. But there's much, much more beyond this life. And I sort of step from one world into another world internally. And I look at this world and I look at my life and I look at the situation of the world from a distance. And then I see not only the fear, but also I do believe we're going in a process of ascension. The world looks so bad now because there's a lot of things, all the bad things are coming out. It's like the worms are coming out of the woodwork and it looks like everything's going wrong and collapsing around us. But actually, when I look from a higher point of view, this is probably the best thing that can happen because everything is coming out and we can clear a lot of things up. And I do believe that our conscious is becoming much more awake. We are becoming much, much more aware of what we want and certainly of what we don't want. And every time I can step out of this fear into a world of love, I feel blessed because I don't feel then this heavy weight. I feel light, I feel hopeful, I feel gratitude, I feel thankfulness, and above all, I feel hope because I know that we are part of God, that God is in us, and that it's our job to transform these energies of fear within us into energies of love and gratitude and thankfulness and hope. And therefore, to me, this is the biggest blessing that can happen right now in the world because I know God is there and I know that life has a much, much deeper meaning than we think, and we don't have to get pushed around or dominated or controlled by our fears. But we have to get in touch with who we really are, with the God in us, and know that we are not alone and that we are powerful beyond what we can imagine. and we have to tap into this power, and then this gives me hope, and this is for me the biggest blessing. And so when Elliot mentioned that it's about blessings, this is the first thing that came into my mind. I'm glad I could share it with you.
Hello, good morning anyone who's watching this. My name is Elliot Yamamoto. I'm the pastor for WWW Holy Community, which spans from Cardiff, Birmingham to Swindon. I hope that you're all well and that you can enjoy this temporary solution to a Sunday service, a worship service, whilst many of us are unavailable during this busy summertime. So the general theme and the message of this sermon is everyday blessings. And I picked this because I feel that I've been given so many great opportunities this year and so many chances that I've been able to take, and new learning opportunities. So prior to 2021, I was very sick with COVID. I was off work for 4 months and I'd struggled with long COVID for over a year and a half, and those symptoms only seemed to start to disappear in the last few months. Now, during this time, I was stuck at home. We had various lockdown restrictions, and if we had COVID symptoms, we were advised to stay inside. And for me, this was a very lonely time, a time where I felt disconnected from the world around me, disconnected from work, disconnected from the local community. And for me at that time, my faith was very much just turning up to Sunday service once a month, and that was my contributions. And for me, that was my offering to God. Once that was taken away from me, once the ability for me to go out and meet people, the ability for me to work was taken away from me, I found that actually my faith was very weak, and that I had very little of a relationship with God at the time, that my life was so busy with these external things, being busy with work, spending time with friends, and filling my life with unnecessary things. And for me, this was a very lonely time, and it was a time where I was able to reflect. As I wasn't able to do much else, I wasn't able to work, wasn't able to go out and see friends. And during that time, I'd really rediscovered God. I'd always had an inclination that there was a God, and I discovered that God is real. But I always struggled to find this connection between understanding that God is real and then finding a purpose to worship and build an intimate relationship with this God. For me, this was something that I'd always struggled to make this link. Now, within history, many philosophers have argued that there is a God. Many theologians have agreed that there is a God through the intelligent design argument or through reading scriptures. However, a major criticism of these philosophers and theologians is that how do you make the link then between knowing there is a God and then actively worshipping this God and developing an intimate relationship with this God? And this is something that I'd struggled with for a long time, but actually through my sickness during COVID, I was able to discover this link. And for me, this connection was that life is very meaningless without a God, without a higher purpose than work, a higher purpose between our relationships with each other, our relationships with our friends, and our relationships with our family, and our relationship with the environment around us. For me, there was something much deeper behind this. And this was God's love for humanity, God's longing to want to be with us, God's longing to want to stand next to us and have an intimate relationship where we can share freely and express ourselves and support ourselves. And for me, this is the definition of faith. I think this is not an area which we have to prove to others or scientifically show. I was recently having a conversation with someone who said, if science proves that there is a God, then I will believe in this God. However, I feel that if science was to prove that there is God, then that almost eliminates the need for faith and the need to discover and develop an intimate relationship with God. For example, I have a pen here. If I drop this pen, I know scientifically that gravity will pull this pen towards the ground. However, that doesn't so much impact my life. We go about our daily life with gravity impacting us, yet that's scientifically proven, but it doesn't really impact us spiritually. It doesn't help us grow. It doesn't help us reach out and find something, just because it's a scientifically proven fact. So this is what inspired me to pick the topic of everyday blessings. I wanted to share with you all that, in fact, that God is very present in our lives, and God is longing to be within our lives, and God is just waiting to reach out for us to grab his hand and say, yes, we are here. I also wanted to share about my recent experience in Vienna. So I was invited to a YSP conference in Vienna. YSP standing for Youth and Students for Peace, which is an initiative by True Mother for youth, students, young people to support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals through community activities and through training and through empowering young people. So at the start of this year, as well as becoming pastor, I was asked to relaunch YSP UK and to try and make it happen. So I was invited to Vienna for our first YSP UME conference. Previously, we've only met through Zoom, so this was a great opportunity to get together, to realign our goals and to make a strategic plan. To be honest with you, I was a bit skeptical about going to Vienna. There was many things going on within me and Kang's lives at the moment. We seem to be very busy. But I made conditions and I went to Vienna. I arrived a few days early due to the way the flights were scheduled at the moment. I spent a few days with my Aunt Loretta and my Uncle Otto and my cousin Anya. And here I had a really beautiful and encouraging experience, which I want to share with you. So those of you who know my grandmother, Marina Backer, she loved to go to Austria and sit on the patio table and look out on the surrounding fields on the outskirts of Vienna. And a few times I'd taken my grandmother and seen my grandmother in Vienna, and we'd have meetups as a family, and the cousins would gather in Vienna for a holiday, and she really used to rejoice and enjoy those times. One morning I woke up and I was contemplating the recent trip to Vienna, and I was trying to really work out what my purpose is for coming to this trip and what I can gain from it. And I was looking out of the window across this patio, and there I saw my grandmother, spiritually of course. She was sitting there with a beaming smile, and she was holding up a cup of tea, and she said cheers very briefly, and then within a blink of an eye, a split second, she was gone then, just completely not there. And obviously this was a spiritual experience. She wasn't physically there because she passed away 2 years ago. But for me, this experience really warmed something inside of me, and I felt like she was encouraging us to try our best, encouraging us to go forward, and encouraging us to try and make a difference within our communities, our families, and our tribes. And for me, that encouragement was so heartwarming, and that was what I needed, and that really gave me the vigor and the strength to go and not only contribute to our YSP conference, but to give talks and to MC and to lead various activities and to contribute to the program over the weekend. And this was a very special experience for me. And I shared this experience with my cousins. Some of you may know that they are actually blessed children. However, they were never so active in the church, and you could say they weren't raised within the Family Federation community. And I shared this experience with my cousins, as I thought they may be interested, and we were having general discussions about spirituality and about the spiritual realm. And one of my cousins said to me, oh, you're so lucky I don't get these experiences, and I really wish I did have these experiences. And my response to her was that actually all of us within our lives have these blessings, have these experiences every day within our lives. Just like Aunt Barbara's poem, even the sun coming out at the right moment, the fact that we're alive and we're breathing and we can love and feel and share, these small things are really powerful, and these things are actually blessings from God, and are actually miracles that we're able to do this, that we're able to share and love freely, and to procreate and try to create a family and emulate God and emulate God's heart. That in itself is a miracle, and is a really beautiful, fantastic thing. In fact, in the Old Testament, a blessing is mentioned over 600 times. And if we look back to the purpose of creation, and we go back to the stories within Genesis, we realize that, and we can learn that God created us, and God created this world as a blessing for us. The purpose of our lives to be close to Him, and to share these blessings continually in a relationship with God and in a relationship with each other. And that the purpose of our lives is to be prosperous, and the purpose of our lives is to revel in this love and to revel in blessings, and to continually be blessed and to continually be supported. In Genesis, the idea of external blessings and the idea of blessings being mentioned explicitly comes from God promising Abraham that all people on earth will be blessed through you. As we know, the human fall happened, this illicit relationship, or this longing for power between Eve and Lucifer occurred, and we became disconnected from God. So since that point on, we can see that God's intention was to reconnect with us, to re-bless us as much as possible, and to share and give to us with as much as He can, and for us to give and share back to God as much as we can. We had a lovely morning Hundoke, a morning Friday devotion this morning. My sister-in-law, Isaac's wife, they were newly blessed this year in April, chose the reading and chose the discussion points, which looked back to the purpose of creation and the holiness of nature and how nature can support us. And during our discussion this morning, many people shared how they feel so empowered and they feel enlightened and they feel free when they're within nature. And many people shared how they feel these mini blessings through nature, through being one with nature. And when we look at the nature around us, that is a way we can feel these everyday blessings. I know many of us can relate. And I think the purpose of this is that nature is not fallen. When God made the world around us, He said that it was good. However, good is a really unexpressive expression, and we know that it's not a good description, it's not a good adjective. However, I think that when the environment and the world around us was described as good, it was chosen because it's pure, it's unfallen, it's the antonym to evil. So of course, when we go out to nature, we can experience many blessings and we can experience God directly. Because this nature is not fallen, it's still connected to God. And that's one way we can receive these everyday blessings, which we need to look out for. So I want to identify that there's two types of blessings which we can receive. The first is personal blessings. Now, many of us are able to share blessings within our lives, these personal victories that we have and personal gifts from God, such as these experiences in nature or spiritual experiences we may have, or times where we feel moved, or times where we feel really connected with God. I'm sure many of us are able to share such experiences. Every week we have people testifying to the power of God at Sunday services. We have people sharing about their experiences with love and each other and within the community. And I think these are personal blessings which we hold true to ourselves, which build ourselves up. However, we need to translate these personal victories, these personal blessings, into wider public victories and public blessings. So we need to try and take these feelings, these victories that we have, these inner personal blessings which help develop us as an individual and help develop our relationship with God, but we need to share this out to the community and have more public victories. And for us to make an impact within our communities and within our wider circles of friends and within our tribes, we need to be bold and strong with our individual victories, our individual everyday blessings. We need to try and share this with conviction and strength to other people. So how can we do this? So how can we take these inner personal victories and take them to the wider communities and claim them as public victories and be victorious within the public setting? I truly feel that what we need to do is be masters of our physical realities, be masters of our physical bodies through developing the power of our mind, the power of positivity, and the power of our thoughts, and connecting that with God. The Divine Principle talks extensively about having mind-body unity, having this connection with our physical realm centered on God, and only through this alignment and through training our minds and through training our hearts, that we command our physical bodies then, and that through that we can achieve great things in this physical realm, on this earth. And also, if you read through lots of True Father's early speeches, he talks about this. He talks about being masters of our physical realities. It is no surprise then that we try and separate ourselves from the crowd in terms of not engaging in free sex, not having these dangerous addictive habits, that we're in control of our physical realities and we're in control of our bodies. Similarly, we see within other religions that they have covenants with God and agreements with God to separate themselves, to have a higher standard, to make the difference around them. For example, in Judaism, we see that the men born into the faith are circumcised, and that is an offering to God then to separate themselves from others, so that they can take their personal victories and share that with wider communities. So upon reflection, we have many individual victories, individual blessings, but as a community, sometimes we struggle to share them, and as a wider organization, we struggle to share these victories and to claim them as public victories, which is very important for us to do. I've been thinking and praying very hard recently to God, wondering why other areas of YSP within Europe and the Middle East are so successful, having 30 events a month, bringing many guests, and why other areas of Family Federation are also so active, blessing hundreds of people, bringing new people to church centres, bringing new people to listen to the Divine Principle. And I've been asking, why could this be? And the answer I've received is that God will come if we invite him. God will come if we're active. God will come if we give him the space to be present, and if we give him the opportunities to be present. When I've asked God why our region's not developing, why we're a little bit stifled, I felt like he asked me the question back of what am I doing? What victories am I bringing to the public sphere and to the community? And I received a very clear message, a very clear answer, and feeling that God will be present here within our communities if we give him the space, if we believe, and if we give him the opportunities to be here. It's no surprise that other successful regions, other successful countries, or other successful areas of our movement, such as YSP, UPF, that there's a correlation between having these individual victories and trying to share them, trying to spread them into public victories, and that the more investment is made into having these public victories, then the more God can be present and the more our communities can benefit and the more people feel attracted to that. So I really hope that we can continue to seek these everyday blessings, but that we feel inspired to share our strengths, to share things that we're passionate about, and to use that then to develop these public public blessings and to develop these public victories for God and for our communities. Thank you very much.